of Anti-Corruption Unit, State House, my brother, Senior Counsel Israel Ochwo, and the team you have led to Lango this morning, the District Police Commandant, Lira, journalists in your respective hierarchies. I know you know your seniority and you respect that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Egole Lawrence, Resident City Commissioner Lira. Sir, I want to take this opportunity to warmly welcome you to Lira and your team. You have been working in this region just like you've been working elsewhere in the country, and this region, specifically Lira City, is no stranger to you and your team. I want to thank you for the spirited commitment in ensuring that this country moves in a right direction by ensuring that we fight corruption. Anti-Corruption Unit, that is in State House, has done a commendable job in the recent past in bringing sanity in service delivery and civil service by fighting corruption at every level. Like it was said, fight against corruption has nothing to do with politics. And the Anti-Corruption State House Unit is just part of several agencies that are engaged in the fight against corruption. But I would like to thank the Anti-Corruption Unit State House because a lot of Ugandans have given trust, and I feel the State House Anti-Corruption Unit is overwhelmed with responsibility, and that is a sign that the people of Uganda has given you a vote of confidence. And on behalf of the government, I want to applaud you for the positive work you are doing. My job this morning is to welcome you to Lira. However, I know I have been working with you for close to 3 years now in trying to weed out corruption from amongst our people, and also to draw back the confidence of the people on the government, because the people think the government is corrupt, but there are individuals that are corrupt, and it is these individuals that you are trying to weed out. I want to call upon, as I call you to address the press, I want to call upon the leaders in this country. Fight against corruption is not a single work for the Anti-Corruption State House Unit. It should be a commitment for everybody in this country. All leaders in their respective capacities must embrace fight against corruption. Unfortunately, the Deputy Head Anti-Corruption Unit, at times we have leaders who encourage corruption by supporting the corrupt and their activities. And if this is not dealt with, it is threatening the very moral fabrics of this nation. And every leader must know condoning corruption is corruption in itself. So as leaders, it is our responsibility to help assist the bodies that are entrusted, mandated officially to fight corruption, to do their work. We need to facilitate them with information and proper guidance so that they do their work. Several letters have been written from this region, but I am happy that the community of Lango are engaged in the fight against corruption. And I thank you, the journalists, the media houses in Lango, for your role in the fight against corruption. These journalists here, I'm not praising them because they are here. They have contributed immensely in the fight against corruption because they confront the truth in their media houses. And as a result, the people of this region know the truth about corruption. So I would like to thank you very much before the Anti-Corruption Unit State House for the role you have played. With those remarks, I want to welcome you, sir, to address the press. You are most welcome.
Comrade Lira City, for those warm remarks of welcome, and also for re-echoing the call not just to the leaders but to all our citizens on what we need to do to fight corruption. Allow me convey greetings from the head of the unit, Brigadier General Henry Isoke, across the Acholi sub-region, also undertaking other activities in relation to the anti-corruption work we do. Allow me say that I am happy to be in Lango. It is not my first time here. When this unit was started in late 2018, I think in early 2019, Lango, I think, was the fourth. Lango sub-region was the fourth place we visited. And I want to appreciate the people of Lango from that time until now, the boldness you have shown in fighting corruption. It is only when we visited, among the very many regions we went to, it is only in Lango where we saw ordinary citizens standing up in the open when we had our public barazas and telling their leaders that no, what you're saying is not the truth, this is the truth that we have witnessed as citizens. Allow me especially thank the RCC of Lira City and broadly all RDCs and RCCs in the country. Our unit is a small unit and we work very closely with the structures under the RDC's office. And they have shown us that we can leverage small numbers by using the existing structures to achieve results. RCC kindly convey to your colleagues our utmost appreciation.
Thank you.
In the same spirit, I will appreciate the police. I am flanked by a representative of our head of investigations, Detective Superintendent of Police, Soed Mohammed. The police is the one that undertakes all investigations we do. As a unit, we create a link where the citizens come to us and then we work with the police. The Director CID has been gracious enough to assign a team of detectives to specifically handle the complaints we receive from Wananchi. And this is the team that handles the work and that does all the investigations we do. And he will be by my side to help shed light on some of the investigation-related questions you may raise. So we came to Lango for two reasons. First of all, the head of state for whom we work is accountable to the people. And recently, there have been media reports about some of the work we have done in Lango. And we thought it necessary, given that we work for someone who should account to the people, who subjects himself to elections every 5 years, that we come back and explain to the people of Lango. We couldn't gather all of them in one place, and we thought we'd go through the media to help us convey that message. Two, we thought we would also use this opportunity to tell you about the other things we do as a unit and what we have been able to achieve across the whole country. And I will start just first of all with a small summary of what we have been able to achieve. In December 2018, when we were created, we have charged in the courts of law, caused the charging in the courts of law of about 543 people. Out of these 543, 292 are civil servants from across the country and also here in Lango sub-region and Lira City and Lira district. 251 are private individuals. Many times we think corruption is only a problem of the public sector, but corruption in the public sector is facilitated by private people sometimes, because even when you give a bribe, there is one side demanding and there is one side giving. Most times the side demanding is the public officer, but the side giving is a private officer, a private person. So we have taken 251 private individuals to court. We don't shy from dealing with people in the security services, and we have taken, out of these people, we have taken 42 of them as security personnel. We have got convictions. We have 126 cases that are still pending in courts of law, and I think achieved a conviction of 98 persons so far. We have made recoveries in the time we've been in existence of over 51 billion shillings. So that is a summary of what we have been able to do. How have we been able to do this? I have already pointed out the partnerships we have with the various players in and existing government structures like the RDCs and RCCs, the police, which does the investigations, and other anti-corruption agencies like the Office of the DPP that prosecutes our cases, and obviously the wananchi who lodge these complaints, who are the ones who point us out to where people involved in corruption have probably hidden their wealth, when they're on the run, where they are hiding. We have received very, very massive cooperation from members of the public, and we remain forever grateful. We will not be able to achieve this. The other people who have helped us achieve these results are, of course, you, members of the Fourth Estate. In our short existence, we've discovered that, not just discovered, but it's known, the role the media can play in fighting corruption, which my colleague, our communications officer, was commending you for doing very well. You have continued to highlight stories and also to shame those involved in corruption. One thing we have noted is that more than being charged in court, the corrupt person also fears that camera. The corrupt person fears when he's going to court, more than being convicted, is the journalist getting his photo. And you've seen instances where some of you have been boxed and your camera is broken. We urge you not to lose steam and keep in that spirit. So with those comments, I want to delve into the issues which I want to specifically address in Lango, in Lira City and Lira district in March 2022. We were prompted to act after the police in Lira had arrested a district official in the dead of the night, moving vital land files from district offices and taking them to an unknown destination. This issue was publicized by you, journalists, and other concerned citizens on all platforms, in the media, in social media. And before this happened, we had also received from the citizens a number of complaints. Now, because we are small, we don't come to Lira every time one individual complaint happens. So sometimes we wait wait about a month or two, and get issues which relate to an entire sub-region, and then we come and handle. Because I don't want to come to Lira, then tomorrow I'm going to Alebtong, then the other day I'm going to Apache. So we come at once. But when this happened and the public concern that was raised, we decided to come to Lira to address those issues. Investigations, of course, you know, are a prolonged process. One of the issues that first came up, because when we came in, we worked with the police which had retrieved these documents, and these documents were handed to us. And we went back with these documents to Kampala. Why did we think it important to take these documents back to Kampala with us? One, at that time, there was a transition between the Lira district and the city that had just been created. Government across the country was still finding modalities on how to deal with the land question. How was the land in the city going to be handled? The Attorney General ably guided that the cities must have their own city land boards. So immediately the city was created, it means the land within the city stopped being under the jurisdiction of the district land boards. But in Lira, we had seen the district land boards had continued dealing in land which was in the city. This was in disregard of guidance that had been given both by the Minister of Local Government and the Minister of Lands, and even communicated to the district authorities by the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Lands. So we decided to take these documents with us until a sort of resolution would be reached in how the question of between the city, the land question between the city, until that standoff between the city and the district was resolved. And we thought it would be irresponsible on our part if we came and we found someone moving documents in the dead of the night and we left the status to remain as such. We found that the documents retrieved were also very relevant in the several complaints that we had received at the unit, and we started shifting through them for what we could use to build the cases that had been reported to us. But we kept in touch with various stakeholders at the district, at the Ministry of Lands, the RCC and the RDC, and kept updating them. We also found at the time that the standoff there was a standoff between the city and the district, and the accounting officers of both entities were not cooperating to resolve this standoff. Fortunately, there was a change both at the district and the city, with new accounting officers who came and were both willing to resolve this issue, and we worked with them, and eventually these documents were returned. We appreciate that there may have been some people who were affected by us holding these documents, but I think what the citizens had failed to appreciate, that if you have an individual claim, those who were able to come to us and say, I have this issue, we were able to explain to them why we kept this document. Now, people after that, when we concluded investigations into the issues, the complaints that had been reported to us, people said, oh, now we are seeing a trajectory in the cases you're handling. You are targeting certain individuals. You are targeting businessmen in Lira because you want to economically sabotage Lira and the wider Lango sub-region. But I want to tell you one thing why I and the other colleagues we work for walk with our heads high. We believe in facts. And if the facts don't speak for you, I will state them as they are. If the facts speak for you, I will state them as they are. And we have a rigorous quality assurance process that assesses what our officers do. We have senior lawyers, some much more senior than I am, who sit with us and reassess these files when they are presented to us. And I don't think we can engage on a witch hunt of businessmen in Lira. What we're dealing with were facts which arose in the cases that we had. And other issues that have been raised is that we are, I wouldn't want to go into the specifics of some of the cases, but in some instances, there are reports that have been circulating that we have targeted, we are witch hunting an individual businessman who evidence the case related to encroachment of a forest reserve, and they are saying, no, we are witch hunting him. We don't have evidence against him. Encroachment of a forest should be a civil matter. Encroachment of a forest has never been a civil matter. Encroachment of the forest is prohibited by law. It is an offense under the National Forestry and Tree Planting Act. Even if it was a civil matter, when you encroach on the forest, NFA will handle the civil matter. It is a crime to obtain a title on land which is protected. That is fraudulent procurement of title, which is an offense under the Penal Code, which our unit cannot sit back and ignore. It has been said we don't have evidence. There is a national ID to show who sold to him. We undertake thorough verifications in our work. If there is a national ID, I am not going to sit and not ask NIRA about it. And we have verified these national IDs. NIRA has given us a report on it. That national ID does not exist. It is a forgery. And that very forgery is an offense. And we are only restraining ourselves from piling more cases. So we do our work. But what I would want to emphasize, if I am a citizen and I am being charged, and I think the officers who have been sent on ground have not done me a fair job, what I would do is to find a way of communicating this to the unit. These officers, our officers who come on ground, and I want to emphasize this to all citizens in Lira City and across Lango and to the whole country, our officers are not an authority on their own. They have structures and levels through which they report. If you think our officers have not done a good job, write to the head of unit, and that file will be reviewed. Now, from our level, our files are worked on by the police, and these files go to the DPP. The DPP also has an elaborate, because she's the one who assesses this evidence. Actually, for us, we collect facts. The person who says this is sufficient to sustain a charge is the DPP. If you feel there is no evidence against you, if you feel we have ignored a document, a vital document like a national ID in that case that was cited, which would help you, I think it would be important for you to put that to the attention of the DPP. And the DPP will call that file. Another officer who is not the person who sanctioned it here in Ilango, in Lira, will review it and say, I think I have found this right, or I have found that the RSA acted on insufficient evidence. Even if they say it's right, beyond that level, you can cause this file to be reviewed until the DPP herself, the Lady Justice, reads it and gives an opinion. The citizens have that elaborate structure through which they can go. There are claims that our officers have been paid, that our officers have obtained pieces of land. I have looked in all the reports circulating. No one has provided details. I want to urge anyone with that information to give it in confidence to the head of unit. You can give it to the RCC here. Even the person who creates this unit himself has channels. If you think at our level, at the level of the unit, we may not handle it, it can be channeled to the person who creates this unit, His Excellency himself, and it will be investigated, the appropriate channels, and if our officers are in the wrong, that matter will be addressed. I want to urge, I am speaking about these things with a little bit of restraint, because we have handled these matters. We've initiated, I think, about 20 investigations where people have been taken to court. These files are ongoing in court. I have elaborated to our colleagues who may be dissatisfied the channels that exist through which they can channel their grievances. And I think we should let the courts decide this matter. We've restrained ourselves. We've explained to them the options they have. Let's let the courts decide. So, in these land-related issues in Lira district and Lira City, we have so far charged 22 people. And we have so far obtained 4 convictions. Some of these convictions have been on the people involved themselves pleading guilty on their own plea. So they have shortened the process and pleaded guilty. And we have instances of several other people we have not taken to court who are walking to us and saying, come on, look, gentlemen, ladies, I have this title, but the truth is I got it in a wrong way. Can you have it back? And we are telling them, no, we are not the ones who deal with land titles. We are not the ones who deal with land titles. Get in touch with the Ministry of Lands and have those titles surrendered to them, and then the processes of cancelling them or dealing with them as that authority deems appropriate will commence. So we have been gracious in these investigations. We have been very gracious. There are people who have come to us and we have extended amnesty. There are people, because of how they have said, I don't know, I have this title, it is in my names, I don't know how it was created, please have it back. We have people who, in the course of this investigation, part of the information that was circulating was that our officers handcuffed a suspect and recorded statements from him while he was handcuffed. Now, that particular person, when we were investigating, he ran away and refused to cooperate with us. We said, can you run away from the state? There are mechanisms in which we can find you. And we started actively looking for this person, for him to be apprehended and dealt with. Now, when this person got wind that they were looking for him, this person decided to consult a senior citizen from Lango. Senior citizen, a very respectable gentleman from this region, reached out to the head of unit and told him, so and so has come to me and he has this issue. And the head of unit told me, no, we have no problem with him. We only want to get his side of the story. And then he came to our office in Kampala. in company of two eminent sons of this region. They were attended to. They explained all their concerns to the head of unit. The head of unit said, I appreciate. He was not even detained. He was taken to our conference facility in the presence of these two gentlemen and interviewed. And what we hear is that he was handcuffed. I think, I don't want to mention names, but those two eminent gentlemen are available to testify to that. So, and there are people whom I personally engaged. When the officers would be on ground, they would call me, officers are here, they are looking for me, I'm told they are looking for me everywhere, and I would tell him, all we want to hear from you is your side of the story. Because we've not heard from you. Can you come forward and we listen to your side of the story? And I kept emphasizing to them, for you, you are businessmen. You're businessmen. You're driven by economic interest. You are risk takers. A businessman can come and see this space and know this is supposed to be what, this is a forest. But for him, he thinks this place would be better with a hotel. And in his mind, he wants to put up a hotel because he thinks it can serve, that land can better be used with a hotel. He's a businessman, that's how he thinks. But the law says that's a forest. Now, the person who facilitates the whole of this problem is the public official. So I kept telling them, actually you can come and be witnesses. Because for you, I appreciate you following your business interest, which is a normal thing for a businessman to do. But come and say, me, I applied, these public officials are the ones who misled me. But most of them didn't cooperate, and again, for some of them, we actually see that they were complicit in these activities themselves, because they told a number of lies. They would also to facilitate these public officials in stealing what belongs to the people of this city and the people of this district. Now, someone would ask, why are we very interested in land in Lira City or Lira district? First of all, I want to say this is not the only district and city where we are investigating land. Two, for Lira, it was a little bit of a complex issue. Why? We saw a merging of the political and technocrats at the district to facilitate land grabbing. So that is the kind of impunity that we can't tolerate. That a few people who have been given public office to occupy in trust for the people are abusing that trust and taking what belongs to the people. So we said, no, we will not allow this go. And we have seen public officials, politicians at the local council level, and even some at the national level, technocrats at the district level who have grabbed land in this city, in this district. And they have taken that land and registered it in the names of their wives, their husbands, their brothers, and their sisters. And after they do that, they take it and sell it to a businessman here, a businessman there. And I want to keep emphasizing to the businessmen that, for me, I think if they cooperated with these investigations, they'll be viable witnesses. The people we are really interested in are those who are abusing this public trust. So we allow this impunity to continue. Tomorrow, Lira City will want to put up a new health center and will find itself with no land, which will be an added cost to government, and ultimately an added cost to us, the citizens, because we are the ones who pay this tax. Or it will delay that improved hospital, improved health center in coming, and the people will suffer because they will have no service. So I want to say that for these politicians and these technocrats, what you have seen is the tip of the iceberg. We are coming back. We have a number of other cases against other politicians and technocrats in the district where they have shared this land. From where they sit, I think they know themselves, and it would be good for them to come forth and come clean and stop using people to divert what the objective of our unit is. So the cases are many. People say we are selective. Why are you taking suspect A and not suspect B? Why are you taking why are you charging this one and not charging the other one? That's why I'm telling you, we are coming in a phased manner. We are collecting evidence. When we finish a case, we present it to the DPP. So the cases will keep coming because we're a small team. Yesterday we traveled here at night. We're from another district. We'll rest the weekend. The other week we'll first forget Lango sub-region and maybe go to Western Uganda. And they are the same teams. It's a team of just 15 detectives and 6 lawyers doing these things you see the unit doing across the country. So we are not selective. It is those challenges we have with manpower and also how fast each individual case is finished. That determines how our cases come. So I want one of the other things which I would want to specifically mention is the claim that Council Sate, in respect to some of these transactions which were made and past resolutions, and with the resolution of Council, you can then go ahead and dispose certain pieces of land. Council cannot pass a resolution which is illegal and we sit back and allow it stand. Where resolutions have been raised, and this is the thing, every piece of evidence which is being raised, we have it, we have assessed it, we have not hidden it from the DPP, we have put it on the file. The DPP has also had an independent assessment of those pieces of evidence which are saying could tilt the cases the other way. In regard, some people have said, oh, our cases are weak. In 2 cases, in 2 instances, our cases have been withdrawn or dismissed. I think that is not true. We only had 1 case where a case was dismissed, but that is because we had to take a decision. Do we keep the case in the courts here, or we take it to the Anti-Corruption Court? And that person whom they have said the case was withdrawn against was charged on similar facts in the Anti-Corruption Court. So the withdrawal was really just to get it from this court to a court which we thought was better placed to deal with the public officials whom I have told you are the prime objective of our investigations. So I have elaborated to you that these cases are many and we cannot handle them at the same time. So we have handled Mayor's Garden, we've handled the Red Eye Estate, we have handled those pieces of land on Church Road, the issues to do with the railways land, the forest reserve, and we have others lined up which we are handling. And you'll just bear with us as we conclude those issues. So I want to conclude by emphasizing that our files we collect, for us, we are officers of fact. I will come and interview person A, he says, this is what I am saying. Person B says the other. Person C says the other. For us, we compile statements and other relevant documents, put them together in a file, send them to the DPP, and the DPP is the one who takes a decision on whether to charge, whether that evidence, first of all, is sufficient, whether there is more investigation to be done, and whether or not to charge that person. So for us, we only collect evidence through the police and channel it to the DPP, who takes decisions on whether that evidence is sufficient or not. So I want to conclude by reassuring the people of Lango that we remain committed to our mandate given to us by His Excellency to be a channel through which the ordinary person can reach him with anti-corruption issues, and for us as a unit on behalf of His Excellency to ensure a speedy resolution of those complaints channeled by wananchi. We've continued receiving comments and support from the wananchi who tell us to solve their own, irrespective of the maligning that has been done against us in various places. And we will maintain that resolve, because for us, we believe we have a zero tolerance approach to corruption, and we will not let down the citizens who are raising these complaints with us. I thank you.
We as State House Anticorruption Unit, as the principal legal officer, as well as the deputy head of the unit, has alluded a lot. We as investigators receive facts, and the facts speak by themselves. We gather evidence, all different kinds of evidence, assemble them. They are taken to DPP. She assesses them, and once they are sufficient, the matter is sanctioned and people are arraigned to court. For the cases of Lira, you realize most of them are now in court, and as officers of the law, we don't talk so much of them, it will amount to sub judice. We can't talk much about matters which are in court. So counsel already alluded, if there are some people who say they have some facts which maybe we didn't get, please, the doors are open. You can bring to us. We will still investigate further and find out if there are errors, we'll correct it. But as for the facts we have right now, those are the facts we are given. They speak by themselves. All our cases, they are evidence sufficient, and they were sanctioned. The matters are in court. Thank you very much.
We want to deal with questions of double titling, illegal titling of protected areas, theft of public land, like we are dealing with in Lira here, and then the issue of massive evictions. Oftentimes when there are evictions, there is a fraud which is perpetrated either in the obtaining of the title which is used to evict or other associated documents. So we've interested ourselves in that regard. And I've already mentioned the land cases we are doing in Lira. We have land issues we are investigating encroachment of Mavira, Central Forest Reserve, Bajo Central Forest Reserve, a local forest reserve in Nibanda. We are investigating land issues in the majority, actually, 50% of the cases we receive from the central region about land issues. And We've had interventions in Central Region, if I would point out a few notable ones, some which, because of the various issues at stake, we have even had mediations. We had a conflict in Kasanda where our head of unit mediated between local residents in Kasanda and a businessman there, Abid Alam. Not be the issue. Our biggest issue and our biggest concern as a unit is that at this local government level is where there is the poor, vulnerable Mwananchi who, if you take medicine away from a health center, is not going to have recourse. So if a doctor demands a bribe from a lady who is going to give birth in a health center in Aleptong, she will not have the option of coming to Lira. She will probably stay in her house and try to deliver, and probably, God, if things don't go well, may die or lose her baby. So we are interested because at the local government level, we feel that there is a big impact on the ordinary citizen if there are failures in service delivery. And at the local government level is where government is making critical interventions, because government is intervening in schools, government is intervening in areas of health, government is intervening in areas of water, government is intervening in areas of roads. So if you take away these vital monies for service delivery, then you're actually failing government efforts to improve our citizens and thereby cause the socio-economic transformation that His Excellency talks about all the time. So we've had a number of investigations across the country. We have investigations, and I am going to cite the few key cases and the people who are either under investigation and or have been charged. In relation to the creating of a title on Lira Central Forest Reserve, we have taken to court Mr. Okello Lawrence and Okwiri Joel, who is a former area land committee chairperson. In relation to the irregular sale and disposal of Uganda Railways Corporation land in Lira City, we've taken to court the former Principal Assistant Secretary of the EMZO in Lira, Mr. Teng Francis. We've taken to court a private individual by the names of Cheng Joseph, another private individual by the names of Kawaizi Julius, and another one called Ogangi Walter. In relation to irregular titling and sale of part of the Mayor's Garden, we've taken to court the former Deputy Town Clerk, Boeng Patrick, the former Physical Planner, Umara, the former Secretary of District Land Board, Okello Francis Olwa, and a businessman in the city called Patrick Olet. There is a Ireda estate. There is a land owned by the district on plot 41 Church Road. We have taken to court the former head of the head of the Natural Resources Department, Otike Pabias. We've taken to court the senior land management officer Alwong Joseph, the former area chairperson of the area land committee Opio Basil Eramu, and another businessman called Okodo Peter. The irregular sale of Ireda estate, we've taken to court a surveyor, the district staff surveyor, Opio Francis, Otike Pabias again, the natural resources officer, the cartographer at the EMZO, Ogwang Joel, a private individual by the names Ato Rebecca, who is a sister to the surveyor, and Ujuka Anthony, a former councillor. So the lists are varied. There is another public open space where we have investigations still ongoing. I will limit myself from mentioning names, but the same people are the same players. Natural resources, senior land management officer, who keep coming up. So those are the few I can mention. Then
19. 19. You mentioned 19.
I've mentioned about 19.
19.
Yeah, in the other cases, it's the same people repeated. So, in relation to the amnesties and those who are still surrendering, to allow that process go to its conclusion, I would request you allow that engagement to go. I don't want to make people shy from bringing back what rightly belongs to the people of Lira City and Lira District. Yeah.
What specific charges are leveled against the accused?
For most of these people, in relation to the encroachment on the Central Forest Reserve, that is, we charge them with the fraudulent procurement of title. The next case I mentioned was irregular sale of railways land. Again, it was irregular procurement of fraudulent procurement of title. So that's the charge, which is repeating. Although for some of them, where there are public officials involved, we have charged them with abuse of office for those who have appeared before the Anti-Corruption Court. Yes, I've concluded investigations in that matter. And like I told you, ours is to collect facts. And that file is still with us. It is going through our quality assurance processes. So our consultants are sitting, going through it. And when that process is complete, we'll then see if it merits being sent to the DPP or not. But the work has been concluded. It is just quality assurance which is being undertaken. On the challenges we face, beyond manpower, and I really raised it, yes, we have a small team. We would want to have more, but we are doing what we can with what is available. And we have found strategies to kind of overcome that gap by readily working with our colleagues in the presidency, the RDCs, and the DSO structures, which are under the RDCs, and that has helped us. We also work very closely with the territorial police. Through the director of CID, we coordinate with them. The director has assigned us a team which calls their colleagues at the on ground. If we are in Kampala and we want something in Lira, call the DPC, OCCID, say we want a statement from a certain place in your jurisdiction. Can you send a detective? These are the areas we want covered. And they do it for us. So we have leveraged on those existing structures to try and make up for our not being, first of all, having offices across the country, and also being where we are, the only place in Kampala having a relatively small team. Now, on the other challenge, the other key one, imposters. Imposters. There are people, after we have been here today, who will come tomorrow and say we are the team which has been sent by the one which was here yesterday. Bring money. This tipper park you had yesterday was mentioned is over. If you don't bring this, you are finished. Very many imposters. Our teams move with identification. We have a 24 hours, it is on. 24 hours every day, whether it is Christmas or Eid. Number that you can call and say, I am in Lira, this person has come to my office, he's asking me for this, saying it's from State House Anticorruption Unit. That number, they will tell you whether that person is our staff or not. That number is 0800 0800 202 500. There will always be someone on the other side to answer you. And it's toll-free. It doesn't even take your airtime. And I would want to emphasize, especially to our civil servants, because they are the ones who fall prey, mostly. Anyone who comes and says is from State House Anticorruption Unit, ask them to identify themselves. If you have any fear, reach the RDC quietly and tell him, RDC, I have this person. Because we work with the RDCs. When our teams come here, our first port of call is the RDC's office. So confirm from the RDC, and it would be good when they come. You alert us when they are still there, we work with the RDC, police, and we net them. I think for that being, you see, who is a suspect or not is a decision the DPP is going to take.
Okay, the person is being followed up.
Okay, I will give you the officials, because this is an investigation that is still ongoing. We are looking at officials in the Natural Resources Department, as a senior land management officer, and other members of the area land committees. Titles. And, like the one I mentioned here was here in Lira, and it is a money that was spent by the district as additional funding for NUSAF. And this money was supposed to be spent on, was purportedly spent by various heads of departments who were monitoring NUSAF works. Now, when we talked to the heads of departments, they all denied ever participating or generating the requisitions that were used to account for this money. Yeah. The other NUSAF projects we've looked at, for example, in Serere, is now the actual implementation of works. So there are community access roads that are being done, the various sub-projects that were being implemented under NUSAF. We followed up in Serere, we followed up some in Pade and Gulu. Yeah, so those were now in terms of the project. Then the other issues which also came out in relation to NUSAF was how the procurements were being handled. You know, this was a procurement that was sort of devolved to the ordinary wananchi through their groups to have their own procurement committees, and there were most of the issues centered around after they made their decision, then someone at the district is trying to get them to go with someone else who was not what they decided at that level. Yes.
Okay, that's another question.
Thank you. Now, the Anti-Corruption Court in Kololo deals with offenses committed under the Anti-Corruption Act. So, corruption, abuse of office, causing financial loss, diversion. Yeah. Now, for these land issues, there are people, I will give an example. I am the chairperson of an area land committee. I connive with the Hudson Apunyo, a businessman in Lira, and we go to and title, and the chairman, me as chairperson of the area land committee, I say me and my members have inspected, this is the Hudson's land, and we give it to you. We make a report very clear. You also fill the application saying this is your ancestral land which you inherited from your grandparents. You want to convert it into a freehold. It goes to the district land board. The district land board says, yeah, on the basis of the report of the area land committee, we have approved his application. It goes to the district. Based on what the district land board has said, let's give him up to the MZO, a title is prepared. But we know that's not your land. That is a public open space which has been there from the time this city was created. Now, the area land committee chairperson does not meet the definition of a public officer under the Anti-Corruption Act. So you can't charge him for any of those offenses that fall in the Anti-Corruption Act. The businessman also does not meet the definition of a public officer. So that's why we take him here. We go to another law which would still define what they did as illegal. Now that's why we go for fraudulent procurement of title. Then we charge him in this court. Now, if along that process we find that the physical planner at the EMZO, if when this application came to him, he should have realized when he was entering it on the system that this land actually is a public open space, and he turned a blind eye and he didn't do it, then we would charge that physical planner with abuse of office for causing the registration of land which is public land to a person who did not own it. Now, when there is a public official with these other non-public officials, that one public official can cause all these others to also be charged in the Anti-Corruption Court. So that's the slight intricacy of the law there. But I think let's have confidence in our systems. One of I find one of the biggest disservices we do to ourselves is to keep thinking, oh, this one here at our level is not good, take them to Kampala. I think let's give them the benefit of doubt. We'll present our case. We think our case is good. We think we've collected all the evidence. If we think they have not done a good job, again, even to us, there are channels where we are aggrieved. We will also go like the ordinary mwananchi and say, the people of Lira complained to us. We took out, the case was investigated by police, taken. We are not happy with the outcome. DPP, please look into what is going on. And the DPP accords us the way she accords every mwananchi that courtesy to relook at this file and determine if it has been handled well. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We can go.